Good morning, everybody. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me and can see my screen. So if you can type a yes or no in the chat box, that would be wonderful. Great. Just wait for a couple more of you to respond and then we'll get started. Anyone else? Just want to make sure everyone can hear me and see my screen. If you can type yes or no in the chat box, that would be amazing. Perfect. Okay, so good morning, everybody. My name is Lisa, and today we are going to be reviewing your websites and your profile settings on your Office dashboard. It's an interactive webinar, so please sorry, it's a little early in the morning. All questions are welcome and definitely encouraged. So if you have any questions while we're going through this, please make sure to type them in the chat box so that I can answer them as we go along. And by the time we are finished with the webinar, you should be able to set up and edit your website along with some of your profile settings. So I know that all of you have been introduced to the platform. If you guys want to let me know in the chat box, have you guys actually been logging in or using the platform, going in and playing and setting up your websites? Okay. No response there. So we'll go through today and hopefully you guys will get a better understanding. If you guys have any questions, like I said, put them in the chat box. And we will be recording this webinar today. You will get it since you're registered, and I will also be sending it out in an email. So let's go ahead and get started. And always, just another reminder, you can always refer to our YouTube channel to view any of our videos at any time. And our YouTube channel, you can easily search us just by putting in Back at You. And then also we have our Facebook group. If you haven't already joined our Facebook group, you can search us on Facebook under Back at You Masterminds. And then you'll just, it'll send us an approval and we'll approve you right away. All right, so I hope everyone is following along with me and you guys are on your dashboard. So the first thing you want to do in order to access your website and to edit it is you're going to come up to the top right thumbnail where your profile is and click on it. And then I'm going to come down here to this website link and click it. And now it's going to take me to whatever your default template is. And I can actually go in and edit my page. It's already in edit because I was logged in, but typically what happens is you won't. Let me log out real quick so you can see. So typically this is what it's going to look like. This is what it looks like on the front end when people are coming to visit your website. Now, if I want to edit it, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of my home page. And you'll see here in the footnotes, there's a site's login. So I'm going to select that. And then you're going to type in your username and password that is the same as your Office dashboard. So it'll be the same across your website and your Office dashboard. And then I'm going to log in. And so now it's going to allow me to edit my website. And you'll know that you're in edit mode because you'll see that black bar up there. And you'll notice when I logged out, it disappeared. So once you have to log in to be able to edit, and you'll see this black bar. That's how you'll always know that you're in edit mode. Now, when you see these, like I can hit cancel here. And it'll take me out and you'll see this edit page up at the top. You'll see for editing as well. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come to the edit menu and you're going to select design to choose your template. So now it will pull up a whole bunch of options for templates. And basically it's just how they're going to view your homepage. And you can choose, there's I think over 30 designs here. So if you go into each design, it's going to have a bullet point of what the features and highlights are. Some, I mean, a lot of them are similar, a lot of them are different. Some highlight your social media, some highlight your listings. So I really do encourage you to go through each design and really take a minute, because I mean, you'll have the default one, which is great, but if you really want to kind of stand out so that not everyone has because all the agents will have the default unless they change it. So if you go in here and you choose and select which design you want, you're going to click on here. Actually, let me go back to this one. And I am going to select update this design. So now it's updated the design that I want, and I can go in now and edit my page. So in order to do that, I'm going to go up to edit page. And now you'll see that you have these little buttons with the pen icon. So each section as you scroll down will have the edit button so that you can go in and edit each panel. So right now I'm going to show you guys how to edit your images. So on top here, you have a couple of choices. You have slideshow, video, YouTube video. So automatically default, it's going to have a slideshow as your home page, and it'll slide through the 6 photos. So for whatever reason, if you only wanted one image or you only wanted maybe 3 images to scroll through, then you would hit change. Now you always have to keep the main image. Sorry, let me go back so I can show you. You always have to keep this first slide, obviously, so that you have an image there. But if you go into any of the other slides, you'll see where at the bottom it says show and it says yes or no. So if I select no, that's going to omit that slide completely, and it would just skip from slide 2 to slide 4. So slide 4 would then become slide 3. Any questions about that? Okay. So now in order to change it, I'm going to go in here and select change. I can either choose from my images, I can upload an image directly from my computer, or I can go into the back at you, which is all of our stock images that are provided for you. So you'll see here you have different categories. So if I go to areas, I can actually have a drop down menu here and look for the city that I want. And they're all stock images of each area. So I would just select the one that I want. We also have commercial, exterior, golf, holiday. Holiday also has a drop down so that you can search. And then interior, luxury. So you can go ahead and choose from any of these. And let's just say I'm going to change it. And then now I can hit OK, and it changes it right away. So one thing you want to keep in mind when you are in your edit mode of your website, it will not affect anything on the front end. It will update live as soon as you hit save. So make sure you're hitting the save button, because you don't want to go through and make all these changes and then it doesn't save. That would be awful. So if you go in here, hit save, it'll update live. So now if someone refreshes on the front end, they'll just see the updated image or whatever changes you made. It will not affect anything on the front end when you are in your edit mode. So don't worry about that. You can go in here and spend, an hour editing, and all it will do is reflect the saved changes if someone refreshes or clicks in new. Okay, so back to edit. You also have the choice of adding a video or a YouTube video. So if you go to video, we have some stock videos in here that you can choose from. So if I go in here, I can choose any of these. If I wanted to select this video, I can, or if I want to select this one. And then you can also adjust the brightness on any of these stock videos. And then as soon as I hit OK, it's going to update. And honestly, I would suggest, my suggestion, just from a marketing perspective, and you can see, obviously, it's much cleaner and sophisticated with the video. If you want to add a video, go for it, because people always are going to pay more attention to video than a static image. If you actually have your own video and you upload it to YouTube, all you need is the link, and you would just copy and paste it in here. You can either mute it. If it's a promo video about you and you're talking about yourself, you would obviously want to unmute it. And then I would just hit OK, and it's going to update that video into, it's a little busy, so keep that in mind, but it will pull up and embed the YouTube video. Let me go in and change this back to this video. So are there any questions about videos? The one thing I do want to just make a suggestion, since we're talking about YouTube, is if you do not have a YouTube channel or you have not created one, I really would suggest going in and just creating a YouTube channel and using it as a library to keep all of your videos. So if you have property videos, if you have promo videos about yourself as an agent, it's really a great way to just have an arsenal and a library of all your videos in one place. And usually with YouTube, any link that creates for the video is pretty much usable on all platforms. Most platforms will accept a YouTube link to embed or insert a video. So that's why it's always a good thing to just upload and keep them all in there, because if you ever want to share them to a different platform, 9 times out of 10, it'll take a YouTube link. Okay, so now that you've chosen your video or image, you can come here to your headline. So if I wanted to change my headline, let me just X out so you can see here. Oops, I forgot to see what happens when you forget to save. So if I go back here and I hit save, let's just go back to the image. So you'll see right here where it has my search for my properties. And if I wanted to edit that, I can do so. So I come back here and I want to change this headline, say, maybe I want to say find your dream home instead. And then you also can go here and decide, do you want to show the main search bar? So if I wanted to omit it completely, I could do that. I can also go here and drill down. Do I want properties for sale, for lease, residential, commercial? What subtype would you like to search, resale or lease? So I'm going to keep it as all. And then if you wanted to set a parameter for listing price, you could do that as well. And then I'm going to hit OK. And so now, oh, it hid my panel, which I'm going to get into in a second. Let's refresh it. There we go. So now you'll see that it updated and it says find your dream home. So anything that I've updated and hit save, it's going to reflect on the front end. So now if you go down and scroll here, let me make sure I'm in edit mode. If I wanted to hide any of these panels, let's say I don't have enough content to fill out, because all 4 of these boxes are one panel, I can go up here to the top right hand corner and I can hit or select to hide a panel, and I'm going to hit OK. And now that panel is hidden. But on the front end, it'll be seamless. They won't see this. It'll just be connected here like it was on the template. And you can just unhide it by clicking here and hitting OK. Any questions so far? So I'm just going to do a quick recap of going through, and in order to get to your website, you're going to be in your main office dashboard. You're going to select your profile image icon, come down here and hit website, and then it's going to open your website. If you're already logged in, you'll be in edit mode. If you are not, it's going to show up here without the black edit bar. And then you just scroll down to the bottom and you go to your login, and it will always be your same login as your office. Whoops. I don't know what's going on with my computer. And then it'll bring you back to your edit mode. So any questions while we're going through this? Because all of you guys are quiet, and I just want to make sure if you have any questions before we move forward. Also, with editing your images, you have slideshow, video, and YouTube. Then you can edit in here as well, and make sure you hit OK and save. If you haven't changed anything, then your save will not show up. We do have a question. Hi, Kurt. So Kurt is asking, adding images from a drive, need to rotate, how? If you're editing an image, usually you would need to rotate it before you upload it because it doesn't necessarily have an option to do that. So if I go in here and I want to hit change and I'm uploading an image from my computer, whatever it looks like in your as your file is going to show up here. However, most of your computers have an edit mode where you can just rotate. So if you open it in like Paint, or I mean, it just depends whether you have an Apple or a PC. Oh, in your Google Drive, you can do that in your Google Drive as well. So if you open it to edit, you would just rotate the image before you put it in here, because there isn't an option to rotate or edit the image once you upload it. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question, Kurt? Is if you open your, okay, just making sure. So you do have an option when you open it in Google Drive, you can edit your image. And as long as you're in edit mode, it will have an option to rotate your image. But you do have to do that before you upload it in here, because there isn't an option to rotate. It's minimal as far as editing. Okay, so let me cancel this. Okay, so now that you've updated your images, your template, and you can go in here and pretty much edit any panel. You can hide a panel. So now let's say you want to kind of make your page or your website a little more dynamic. So when you have your default website, you'll have a menu here. This is the main menu, and it sometimes is different depending on the template. Sometimes it'll be up here, sometimes it'll be across the top. But here's your menu. So each page generally has your home page. It has a searchable page for to search properties. You have an About Me page, which I will get into towards the end of this, but I just want to show you what it looks like. So that's your About Me. And then you also have, let me select home. You also have your portal, which we'll also talk about shortly, and then your home value page, which is a lead capture. And then if you want to add any additional content, like if you have information about the neighborhood, or if you want to talk about yourself, or like up here, there's a adopt a pet, anything that you want to add that you feel is valuable content to your page, you can do so by creating a custom page. So what you're going to do in order to create a custom page is come up here and select pages. I'm going to select new page. And this is just any of the pages that I've already created, and that's where you would go in and edit them. You will not have any the first time, obviously. So two things I want to explain to you. There are two different types of custom templates. So you have a standard page template, which is just, as you can see, it just shows you the different layouts. So you can either add an image or images and copy, depending on how the layout works. And if you scroll down a little further, you have a dynamic page template. So the dynamic page template is going to be a layout that pulls information, depending on the actual template, from the MLS. So that means that it's updating as fast as the MLS does, which is probably, every few minutes you're getting updates from your MLS feed. So you can go in here and it will update any of that MLS information live. Excuse me. So you still need to, if you go in there and add any of your own copy, it will be the same. So just to explain the difference, if you have the standard template, these will be basically stay the same. They will not be updated unless you go back in and edit, which I'll show you how to do as well. But unless you edit them, you want to make sure it's not going to change. The information is not going to change. And this, on the dynamic page, it will update the MLS information, but still, if you have copy on there, you have to update as well. So let me just go in and show you. We're going to select the listings and hit next. Kurt just asked, can I add available condos from the office files? Are you talking about on the MLS pages, custom pages? Can I add available condos from the office? You mean to pull in as your files? I'm confused. I'm not really clear on what you're asking. because you do have access and you can see the listings from your office. Yes, so you can see them. Are you saying can you market them? Is that what you're asking? I just want to make sure I'm clear on what you're asking. So you can pull, I mean, you will have access to see all of the listings in your office. Obviously, you know, as a good rule of thumb, I would always suggest if you are going to use anybody else's listings other than your own, then you need to talk to them about it. If it's in your office, add them to what we typically deal in. Well, yeah, you can pull, depending on what the template is that we go into, it'll either pull your listings or it'll pull your office listings. That's something that you can go in and set up. Does that make sense? So it depends on the template that you're pulling. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, so when you come in here to add a page, you're always going to have to name it. So I can just say neighborhood info. And I'm going to title the page neighborhood news. If you want to put a description, you can. If you wanted to add meta tags, so any of you who don't know what meta tags are, this is usually if you're a little more advanced or a little more savvy, but meta tags, just to give you a very basic generic description for any of those who don't know what meta tags are, they're like the little snippets of text that describe a page's content. So they don't appear anywhere on your page, but they're really just to describe, it's really in this page's source code that's on the back end of all the search engines. So when you're searching Google and you see all your search results and it has a little kind of paragraph or few blurbs or sentences talking about what that page is, it's basically just the little content descriptors that help all of the search engines categorize what the page is about. So when you are doing the search, they know what to pull up, if that makes any sense. So that's like the basic generic version. So you can actually add meta tags to your website, and you don't have to do it now. So if you did want to do a little more research and you're not really sure or comfortable with meta tags, you can always come in later and add them. So if I don't select anything, it's not going to add it, or I can hit not at this time. If I want to add to the menu, I can either not select anything or hit not at this time. So what that means is when you are looking at your menu, which we'll get into shortly, when you have a custom page, until you add it to your menu right here on this side of your menu for your website, it's not going to show up. So it's kind of just sitting in cyberspace or nobody can see. And my suggestion is when you are creating a custom page, that you actually make sure you go in and finish the whole page before you add it to your menu, just so that you can preview it and make sure there's no mistakes. So right now, while I'm just setting this up and creating it, I don't want to add it to my menu just yet. And then up here, you can have a lead capture for your page. So if I select yes, then what happens is now it's going to create a pop-up lead capture when somebody goes to this page. So you have options that you can set for this. So I can say I want this to have a pop-up lead capture, and then it's going to ask me how often. So by type, it's really asking you, and if I click down here, so you can see there's nag, offer, and force. So nag pretty much means I can select, okay, on every maybe third visit, this pop-up is going to show up, and then they can choose whether they want to fill it out or just X out of it. And then I can choose what lead source I'm going to go in, or I'm going to have that lead go into. Now, I also have offer. So offer means that basically it's only going to pop up once, and whether they fill it out or not, it's never going to pop up again. So you can say, I want it to pop up on the first time. And if they never fill it out, then it's just never going to show up again. And then you have last one, which is forced, which for obvious reasons you would understand, that means they have to fill it out in order for them to view the page. So that I maybe would suggest against that, just because you don't want to deter anybody from going through your site. You really want to keep visitors on your site. So I would probably do a nag or an offer before I would do forced. But if you really want to be aggressive about your leads, you can always do forced, and they have to fill out their information. So I'm going to select no on here. I don't want to register. Well, let's just keep it. Let's change it from forced to nag, maybe a third time. So I'm going to hit OK. And now it's going to generate the template for my page. So if I go in here, you'll see it's pulling up my MLS feed. And then I have to go in here and edit the rest of the page. I have to make sure I hit edit page, and you'll see now it populates my buttons to edit. So if I want to edit this image, I can do so. Let's pick another image. And then on any of your custom pages, it's always going to show this lorem ipsum copy, which is just a Latin version of jargon filler copy. And the reason why we do that is because we really want you to customize this page to yourself. And if we filled out the copy or put generic copy in there, you probably wouldn't do that. And the whole point of these custom pages is really making the websites a little more customized to you as an agent, so that not everyone has the same website. So in order to change your copy, you're going to go in here and edit, and it's going to show up pretty much like any Word document. So I can go in here and I can say, check out my new listings. I can add a hyperlink if I want. So if I go to hyperlink, hit. And then I can also decide I want it to open to a new window. One thing I would always suggest is when you are in here, make sure you select new window if you have a hyperlink, really on anything that you do, just as a sidebar, so that it will open a new tab instead of taking them away from your website. Because if you don't hit new window, it's going to take them off of your website and take them to whatever link that you've sent them instead of just opening a new tab. So I'm going to hit OK. So now I've just created a link. If I want to insert an image, I can do that. So it pretty much works like any Word document. I'm going to hit OK, and that's updated. You can embed a YouTube video as well in here. And then also I could add an optional sub menu, which is it's really a sub menu for this page. It's not for your main menu of your website. So I can go in here and edit. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. And then I also have the option of adding optional listing stats. So I'm going to say, yes, I want to add that and hit OK. So like I mentioned before, anything that's going to be pulling from the MLS is going to be automatically updated. Anything like the image or your copy that you've put in there, or if you've embedded a YouTube video, is going to stay static until you change it. So now I'm going to make sure I hit save. And now it's saved. So another thing I want to show you is how you're going to edit your menu. So there's a couple of ways to do that. So if I am in edit mode, let me hit cancel. So if I'm in edit mode and I select menu, why is it not giving me my edit? It should have a little button here to edit, or you can go up here to menus. So this is where you would technically go to edit any of your menu. So if I go, I'm going to select site menu, and I'm going to come over here to edit. And then if I want to move any of these, because this is showing me my site map basically for my website. So I have home, and then I have two sub categories in here, and I have for sale. I'm going to edit this because we're going to add the new one that I added to. So I'm going to hit trash. And then I have about me, my portal, what is my home worth. So let's say I want to now add the custom page that I just created. So I'm going to select custom pages here, and I'm going to find out which one. I did neighborhood info. That was the name of my custom page. And I want it to be named neighborhood news when it's in my menu. So now I'm going to select add to menu. But I actually want to edit this because I want it to actually go into a sub menu. Let me delete this because I just created this by mistake. So go back to custom pages. Let me delete this. There we go. I'm going to cancel and go back in. Now, one thing I do want to let you guys know, everything updates live once you hit save. The only thing is the menus. You do need to refresh your page so that it reflects when you're looking at it. So if I come back in here and I'm going to add my neighborhood info, I'm going to call it neighborhood news. And then now it's going to give me the option of adding it to a submenu. So I want to add this under home. And then now I'm going to hit menu and it's going to show up under as a subcategory. So if I just added it without putting it in a sub menu, if I have another page here, let's find another page. Let's just do a test page and then I'm going to call it info. If I don't select sub menu, now it's just going to add to my main categories. Does anyone have any questions about the menus? Any questions about anything that we've covered so far? I know it's a lot of information to take in. Any questions about the custom pages? Does anyone want me to go through that one more time? Okay, so let me move on. So now we're going to talk about leads and lead captures. So on your website, there is 3 different ways or lead captures for you to collect information and leads. It will go feed directly into your CRM. Let me get out of edit mode right here. Let's go back to the home page. So you have your home value capture, which is right here. So anyone that clicks on this, if I click on this, basically it's just a landing page that's going to ask somebody, do they want to find out what their home is worth? So they would just go in and enter a property address. And now it's going to create a report. And in order for them to see that report, now is where you have to capture the information. I'm going to put the full name. And then it's going to ask them, why are they doing this? So they're considering selling. And then now I hit view report. So this is what they'll see on their end. It's going to generate the report for them. So anytime that this happens, when somebody goes in and does a what your home is worth, you are going to get notified. And depending on how you set up your notifications for leads, which we'll get into next after this, that is how you're going to be notified. So by text, by phone, by email. It will also show up in your CRM as well, coming in as a lead. So this is what they're going to receive on their end. It tells them the information, pulls up any information that they have on the property. And all this is pulled from Zillow, just so that you guys know that is the source that all of this is coming from. And that is probably the most accurate source across, because we have so many different clients that are across the US. Any questions about the portal? I'm sorry, the home value page. Okay, perfect. So The other option is when you're on, let me go back to the main page here. So on your website and on your company's website, there's always going to be a section up here that says login or create portal account. So any of your clients at any time can go in and create a portal account for themselves. And this one's showing up because I already created one, but let me log out so I can show you what they see. Okay, let me go back. Now that I've logged out, it's not having me log out. There we go. Okay, so this is what they're going to see once they click on this create portal account. So what this does is this creates a portal for your clients. So they can go in, and if they're searching through properties, they can search for properties. It'll also give them notifications on open houses, new to the market within whatever their search parameters are, image change notifications, status change on the property, price change. And then all they need to do is create an account here and fill out their information. And then it creates an account for them. It'll alert you that a person has created a portal. And then once they log in, this is what they're going to see. So it'll say, welcome to your portal. And it will also basically track their behavior on this portal. So if they're doing searches, if they edit a search, it'll notify you as well in your CRM. So if I go in here, it'll tell you whether they've, looked at they've logged in. It'll also tell you whether they've done a search. So it'll pull up in your notifications, but it also shows up right here on your dashboard. Any questions about that? Okay. So lastly, the third way that you're going to create a lead capture from your website is if they go in here and they do a property search from your homepage. Okay, so now that it's pulled up the properties, if they're going in here and they're searching through all the properties, and this, just to answer, Kurt, your question, I think this might be related to what you were asking me. When they do a property search, it's going to pull up everything. So, however, whenever they click on a particular property, it'll always pull up your information here on the right. That's the benefit of having them search on your website versus like Zillow or Realtor.com. So you really would want them to look on your website, but it will pull up all of the listings. I don't know if I feel like that's somewhat related to what you're asking, Kurt, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. So when they are searching through a property and they select a property to view, they're going to have this contact the lead capture form right here. So if they want more information, then they can fill this out and it's going to submit it and you'll get an alert for that. And I'll show you when we're in our office dashboard, it'll categorize so you know what every lead, whether it's a contact form, whether it's a portal, it'll tell you where that lead is coming from and what the source is. So this is one way for you to capture a lead. Another way up here, if they decide to share the property that they're interested in via email or text, not only is it going to alert you that they've shared it, it's going to give you the information of who they sent it to. So now you potentially created 2 leads. Also, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, there's also a lead capture to request a showing. So if they are that interested in the property and they want to do a showing, then they can fill this out and it's going to alert you as well according to your notifications, which we'll get to next. So when you are going into your website, just to review, there's 3 different main ways that you can get a lead capture. So you have the home value. And one thing that I did want to mention with the home value page, this is an amazing, this is just a landing page. And you can literally, I would suggest bookmarking this URL right here because it's always going to be the same URL that's connected to your website. And you can insert this on your social media. You can insert it on your email signature, anywhere that you can add a link. I mean, it's just a way to create lead captures. Oh, sorry. I just realized somebody put a question in the questions tab. Kurt asked, you simply want to add a recent solds page. Oh, okay, yeah. So let me just go through that really quickly. If you go back, and if we're going back to our custom pages, I'm going to go down and scroll so that I'm in edit mode. So if I go to pages and I select new page, and you go down to the dynamic templates, I'm trying to see if there is one that you can show just solds. Areas template 1. Let me look at the listings template. I don't know that it'll automatically pull solds, that you can customize it that much, Kurt. However, if you wanted to do one, but you'd have to update it, you can do that on here on one of these templates. Or you could also do, a good idea for a custom page would be a neighborhood market report. You could maybe do that monthly or quarterly and just do solds in the area. That could be a way where you're not having to update it so frequently or often. I don't know if that helps answer your question, but as I'm looking at the templates for the MLS feed, I don't see anything where you can just classify it as just a sold, unless you did one particular, like in the showcase template, and pull a property through there. I don't know if that exactly helps you, but I hope it answers your question. Okay, so now that we've covered, I want to finish covering the leads. So you have your home value page, which we went to here. And as I was saying, it's a great way to use as a lead capture anywhere. So I would bookmark this and use it wherever you want. You can put it in your About Me. You can put it in your email signature. You can put it wherever you want, or anyone can click on it. And then you also have your portal. So the portal, they can create their own portal. They can do their search. And we'll get into a little more about that next week if you guys are going to follow up with our CRM. And then also the third way is when you do the property search, and on those property searches, there's 3 different ways that they can as well. You have a contact form. If they share the property with anyone, it'll notify you and give you their information as well. And then also a showing lead capture. Okay. So profile setup. So now we are going to go away from your website. So I can just click on here, but I want to show you, if you are in your website or editing or anything like that, and you want to get back to your Office dashboard, all you need to do is come back here to the foot and select Office login, and it's going to take you directly back to your dashboard. If you've lost the tab, or if you accidentally close out of the tab, that is the quickest way to get back to your Office dashboard. So if I just to show you real quick, you scroll all the way down, you come down to where you would log in to edit, and you just select Office login. So now we're going to go through your profile setup and your lead notifications that I was mentioning earlier. So I'm going to come up here to my little profile thumbnail, and I'm going to select the profile link right here. And then you want to fill out as much of this general information as you can. There's a lot that you can fill out. The more the better. But obviously, you need to make sure you have all of the information in the required. Some of it will be filled out for you, but a lot of this stuff pulls into other things. So you want to fill out like your address or your email or your phone number. Any of these things, the more you have, if you have certifications, just fill out as much as you can. And then over here on the right-hand side, you can link any of your social media accounts. So you'll see I just have one set up here for Facebook, but this is really important because when you are, and I'm just skipping back to the website, on that About Me page, and I'm going to show you, if I click on this, it's going to show up where I fill out in that profile. Any of my social media accounts that I filled out, it'll populate so it's not grayed out. And they can literally just click on it and it'll take them directly as a shortcut to your page. So that's important. And then also I'm going to show you as well, filling out your bio. This is where it populates. And I'm going to show you that right now. So if I go back and I scroll all the way down, here is your profile section. In essence, this is just your bio. And I always, as a rule of thumb, make a suggestion to most agents. If you just spend like an hour, 45 minutes, however long, and write out your bio on a Word doc and have it saved on your computer, then you can just copy and paste it, because there's several places. I mean, usually when you have your listing presentation, there's always a section for your resume. If you have a CMA or anything like that, then you would just be able to insert it. For your social media profiles, especially your Facebook business, they always want basically a bio. So you would just copy and paste it here. And it doesn't need to be very long. It can just be a couple of paragraphs. If you're a new agent, I would always suggest that you pull from your professional experience that's applicable. So if you worked for a bank for 10 years and then decided to become an agent, then you have all of that financial background. If you've been in customer service, anything that's applicable to real estate, I would add that, because that's going to show that you would be a great agent. And then obviously anyone that's a seasoned or experienced agent, that's stating the obvious. You want to talk about why you are such an amazing agent and your history. So really, it just needs to be a couple paragraphs. It doesn't even need to be this long, but it is important, because you want to give people a sense of who you are and why you're a great agent. So you would just fill it in here. And it, like I said, it's just like any of the other like Word docs. It doesn't have as many options, but you can add hyperlinks as well. And then you want to make sure that you hit save up here anytime you make any changes, so that it does save. And then once you've done that, that's what's going to populate over here in your About Me page. So it'll pull up right here. Now, underneath your profile, you have your email signature. So you can just create your own email signature in here. If you have your own template, you can use your own template. You can create your own template within here, or you can use one of our templates that are already created for you, and you just fill out your contact information while it's processing. So if I just wanted to hit select, and your company can also, depending on what brokerage you work for or what settings, they can create templates for you if they wanted to. So obviously I want to make sure that I enter a cell phone number. I want to make sure people can contact me. And then I'm going to hit save once I've updated it. And so now this will be in all of your communication. So this is really important for you to set up the bio and the email signature. So when you're sending out any emails or any auto emails, like as if somebody creates a portal, they'll get an auto email. Any of these auto emails will insert your email signature. So this is something you really want to make sure that you set up right away. If you're sending an email, even within agent to agent or within your office, anything external, especially any of your marketing, you really want to make sure that you set up your email signature. It's very important. So now I'm going to make sure I hit save again. Are there any questions about your general profile? Okay. So now we're going to go to lead notifications. So in order to do that, and I'm just going to close out of here and show you how to get here, because sometimes it's getting a little confusing. So I go up to my profile thumbnail. I'm going to select the profile link, which takes you to the page we were just on. It'll always open on your details. And I am going to come up here to my preferences tab on the menu. And that will open up right to my notifications. So this is where you're going to manage all of your notifications. And right here is where your lead notifications are. So you can choose, and when you hit the drop down, it's going to give you the option. It's always going to default to always 24/7. So just make sure if you don't want to be alerted on all of this always 24/7, then you can choose either never, or you can choose my office hours. So if I want office hours here, I'm going to go all the way to the bottom so that I can actually select my office hours. And here's where you would do that. So I can pretty much just set whatever times that I want to be alerted. Obviously, it doesn't need to be physical office hours. It's really about the times. So if I want to accept leads till 11 p.m. at night, I can do that. So it's really just setting up the time of you getting your notifications if you think about it that way. It's probably an easier way to think of it other than like physical office hours. So now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit save again. And now I have saved my settings. And that is pretty much all we're going to cover today. So I do want to just kind of do a brief recap because we have a minute or two of everything we covered. And hopefully, if you guys have any questions, you can type that in while I'm doing the recap. So today we covered your websites and setting up your templates and customizing your websites, and then also your profile settings. So in order to get to your website, we came up here on your dashboard, clicked on the website link, and then if you are logged in, it's going to end up on your edit. You're going to be in edit mode already. But normally this is how it'll show up. And then you scroll all the way to the bottom so that you can log in to edit. Whoops. I'm having mouse issues today, guys. So now remember, that's how you'll know you're in edit mode is you'll have the black bar up here with your menu. If I want to go in and select my template, I'm going to hit design, choose from my templates, and then select update this design. But I'm going to click out of this. And then I'm in edit mode right now. So if I want to edit any of my images, I can do that. I can edit the slides. I can edit to video to pull a stock video, or I can actually add my own video through YouTube. You could go here and edit any of the copy on here, or I could eliminate the main search bar completely. And I'm going to hit OK. And then make sure that you hit save. And it won't, the green button will only appear to save when you have made any changes. So anytime you see that, just hit save because that means you've made changes unless you didn't want to save the changes. And then if you go in here as well, I just wanted to show you a quick little trick. So on these 4 panels, I can choose whichever panel I want to edit. And then on here where you have this button text, and you'll see here where it says like, let's get started. So then I can actually select any of the custom pages that I have created and connect it as a link. So let's say I just created a listings page, and that's one of my custom pages. So now I hit OK. So now when they click on this button that says, let's get started, I can change the text as well. And hit OK. And now you'll see that it's changed. And if I click on this, it's going to take me to that custom page that I just created. Any questions about that? No questions, guys? I know it's a lot. And then also we covered going through your menus and editing your menus. So you can move them around here. You can add your custom pages here. You can put them in a subcategory and hit save. That's in your menus. Another thing I did want to show you is in your advanced menu up here, you can also add your Google tracking ID or your Facebook Pixel ID. And for any of you who don't know what that is, it's really, if you have a Google Analytics account, you can add a tracking ID so it can really pull into your analytics and show you who's visiting and how many visits you have. And then if you do have it and you don't know how to find the tracking ID, if you click on this little hyperlink right here, it's going to give you a basically an image of showing you how to find that tracking ID so that you could just copy and paste it right here. And then you can also do that for your Facebook Pixel ID. And for any of you who don't know what that is, if you are doing a lot of advertising on Facebook and you are sending people to your website, this is a great way for you to figure out and pull into your platform and your dashboard of your analytics of from leads that you're receiving, or even just traffic to your website from Facebook by putting in that ID. And then same as well here, you have a hyperlink to show you how to find that ID if you do not know how. And then I'm going to hit save or cancel because I didn't put one in. Any questions about that before we wrap up? No questions, guys? No questions about your profile? No questions about your lead notifications? You guys are so quiet today. So anyway, as we're wrapping up, I know that this is a lot of information, and a lot of times the questions don't come until you really start going in and playing around with it. So we're always here, and I always encourage you guys to join our Facebook group. And for those of you that haven't, if you just go to Facebook and search Back at You Masterminds, you will find our group page under that. You also can access our video library on YouTube, on our YouTube channel at any time. And there's tons and tons of video tutorials that you can pull from. Some are like these hour-long webinars, and then some are a little more isolated and detailed into certain specific subjects. And also, you will be getting a recorded version of this webinar via email today. And then if you can really try to take at least an hour during the next week, you really want to set up your website, because that is your page that's facing the outside world. You should be putting your website on any of your marketing. So I definitely suggest making sure you set up your website. Take the time, take an hour out to do that. You really want to set up your profile settings. I can't stress enough how important it is to do your bio and to set up your email signature. So if you need any help with that, we are always here to help you on Facebook. If you have any questions, we can answer those as well. But are there any last questions before we end the session? Okay, great. So next week, just to remind you, we are going to do a session on your CRM. So hopefully you guys will join me, and you guys have a wonderful week. And thank you so much for your time. Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Candy.